How to find a decent investment property in Australia. This is how I do my investment property research. Hello, my name is Victor and I'm the creator of the heatmaps.com.au. There are great, well-performing areas and less attractive suburbs. Each postcode has its pros and cons. Let's rank them all and see which one performs better. We will start with ranking postcodes by a median house price growth. Postcode 2835 in our research is currently showing the highest annual growth of plus 67%. Median house price jumped from 116k in 2020 up to 195k in 2021. Do you know much about this remote location of Cobar? Let's find this postcode on the map. Type in 2835 and hit search. Here it is. Looks like a mining town in rural New South Wales. Where are we? Let's zoom out. It is truly remote. Look how far it is from Sydney. Click on it. Now let's look at those charts. Chart 1, it tells us what kind of properties were sold here. In this case, it is 323 properties. All of them are houses, no units in Cobar. Chart 2, median house price timeline. This is year on year. Let's have a better look at the numbers. The reality is that house prices in this location fell rapidly as COVID hit the world in 2020. From over 200k it went down to just above 100k. Looks to be a sell-off as numbers of houses sold in the area was noticeably higher than in previous years. Then in 2021 things started to dramatically improve. With Australian economy turnaround and commodity prices skyrocketing, interest to mining is back again and demand for remote housing looks to be climbing up as well. Chart 3, land block sizes. As you can see, there is plenty of houses with quite generous land blocks, over 1000 square meters and so on. Chart 4, number of houses sold. Next, we have an exact growth figure of plus 78.6, self-explanatory. Chart 6, median house price growth in dollars for postcode 2835. This is year on year. Chart 7, gross yield. This is important indicator, but we will talk about it later. Chart 8, gross yield timeline. Then we have this button here, show sales for the selected postcode. Let's click on it. Now here we can see all the reported house sales from 2016. We can see when the house was sold, what is the property address, other details, and of course the purchase price. There are many records in this table. You can copy and paste it to your Excel spreadsheet to perform your own calculations if needed. Or go to the government source and download the raw data. Also, you can Google those addresses and see if the listing is still online on domain or realestate.com.au. The fundamental principle of all the numbers here is the transparency. We share all the data with you and provide the data source where we get the data from, which in most cases is government databases. Let's go back to the map. Currently, we are looking at the layer annual median house price by postcode. Let's change to the next layer, annual median growth by postcode. Now we can highlight areas with high, low, and even negative change in price. Click on the postcode to activate charts. Next layer is house price for the last quarter. Today it is the first quarter of 2021, which is January, February, March. Click on the map to see quarterly timeline for the price. and then house price growth quarter on quarter. We are comparing the last quarter median price, January, February, March 2021, with the previous quarter median price, which is October, November, December of 2020. As usual, click on the map to see the detailed timeline. We already know that there is not much units available in this area, but just in case, if you are considering apartments, we have all the same collection of map layers covering unit market. Let's move on to other indicators. Try this layer gross yield for houses. Click on the map. The calculated yield in the postcode 2835 in the last quarter is 6.6%. Here we also have a yield timeline, and the key metrics: average rent and median house price. This is all you need to calculate yield. Let me show you the formula quickly. Take 250 weekly rent, multiply it by 52, which is number of weeks in a year, then divide it by median price, which is 195,000. This is the gross rental yield. We can multiply it by 100 to get the percent. Scroll down to see timelines for house price. Gross, and rent. An interesting fact: there are some rental contracts registered as units, though we didn't see any units sold in the area. I believe this is accommodation for miners and shift workers, which is classified as units or flats. It is actually a good idea to check if our numbers are matching those from other sources, for example realestate.com.au. Let's go to the website, choose sold, and search for Cobar 2835. Those are listings, but we need to look at the suburb profile. Median house price looks lower to what we calculated, but the rent is a bit higher. Look at the units, and we do see some numbers for unit rentals, but no stats for unit sales as well. Let's look at the trend. Here we see a noticeable jump in price in recent months. This corresponds with what we have seen on the heat maps, but the way we calculate numbers might be a bit different. Let me show you other very useful layers. Click on Rent. This is a comprehensive breakdown of rental information. We slice and dice it by bedroom number, from studio to 4+ bedrooms, and property types: houses in blue, units in pale red, and townhouses in violet. Those are the whole New South Wales statistics. So let's click on the map to see the local numbers. We're looking at the layer median rent by postcode. We see that median rent in the first quarter of 2021 was $250 per week, and it is based on 59 rental contracts registered that quarter. There are rental units and houses in this area. Median rent price fluctuates between around $250 a week for houses and around $150 a week for units. We can see number of rental contracts registered for houses, but don't see this number for units. The New South Wales Government Department of Communities and Justice limits data when there are under 30 records in a quarter. This is for privacy reasons, and they are very strict with this. Nevertheless, we still can see that there are 3 and 4 bedroom houses being rented out in this area. Now let's look at the layer called New. This is for new properties approved to be constructed. They can be still under construction or already built. This layer actually covers the entire Australia, so you can check out property supply in other states: Victoria, Queensland, Australian Capital Territory, South Australia, Western Australia, Northern Territories, and Tasmania. Also, this layer is based on another geographical shape called Statistical Area Level 2. It is somewhat similar to Postcode in terms of size, but shaped differently. Let me show you. Let's refresh the page and search for the postcode 2835 again. Expand the map a bit. Now watch. This is Postcode 2835. Now let's switch to statistical area. And this is statistical area of Cobar. It is shaped differently and covers different areas. These shapes do overlap significantly, but not entirely. Let's click on the map to get some numbers. Firstly, there is a reason that all areas here are colored in green. This indicates that there is no massive property development happening in recent years. Please refer to the color legend in the corner. There are only 4 new dwellings approved, altogether valued 853,000. All 4 are houses, no units. Scroll down for the timeline. Now you can see that those new houses were approved to be built back at the end of 2019, one by one. Let's check out other layers. Click more. The owner-occupied share of ownership. Some investors follow the strategy to invest in owner-dominated areas. They believe areas where people prefer to rent might have higher risks. So for you guys, this layer visualizes owner-occupied areas in green and renter-dominated areas in red. Hover over the map to see the exact numbers, or even click on it to get numbers into a chart. Next layer, schools. This is another descriptive and rather complementary layer. The logic is that many people or families will prefer live closer to a good school, which might be another factor driving demand for properties in a particular area. There is a fair competition amongst families to get their children into a high-ranking primary or secondary school. You have to live in a school catchment zone in order to secure enrollment. This is why we included this layer. Next layer, income. This is the annual income per registered individual taxpayer based on ATO report for 2018 financial year. High income sometimes means high rent and better tenants. Also, for those investors on the hunt for a blue-chip property, this might also indicate where rich people live. And the last layer in this section is crime. This is for property-related offenses only. Generally, we want to invest into the area where people like living, suburbs with a better lifestyle. So some investors might prefer to avoid high crime areas. This layer is for you guys. So is postcode 2835 a good choice for buying an investment property and a house specifically? The answer is it's up to you. If you bought a house there last year, by now it could worth 67% more than what you paid. Will it grow in a price even more? Nobody knows. To me it looks like a risky choice. Personally, I don't see enough evidence for future growth. Most importantly, I don't see any reasons for high demand. But I might be wrong. I'm not an advisor